So yet again, we've got more propaganda from the BBC. They had this 58-year-old guy who declared himself as a goth, and he wasn't going to vote. So then they brought this girl on from Voting Counts. She said, you know, register today, it's your last day to register to vote. And the guy, he was like, no, I don't care. Not make any difference to me. Don't care who runs the NHS, because they're all going to do a reasonable job. I'm not going to run it into the ground. And she said, oh, you must register today. And you know, even if you don't want to vote, go along and spoil your ballot paper. You know, make a no vote, because that way it's noted. She didn't say who it was noted by. She just said it gets read out with the counts. Oh yeah, but who notes it? She also implied that if you didn't vote, you didn't care about the system. You didn't want to engage somehow. Politics is dead. She doesn't get the fact that politics is dead. There's no need to engage with the standard Westminster system if you've got an alternative view. Because there is no alternative through Westminster. Westminster is run by big business. It's backed by the IMF, etc. There is no alternative via Westminster. None. And you can choose whatever colour you want. I'll tell you the same thing. There is no difference. Well, unless you choose Farage, who turns out to be quite broken, actually. Well, because Farage, over the last week, has said, well, of course we need immigration limits, because you don't want your country riddled with HIV-infected immigrants. Which basically, if you follow that argument all the way through, he's saying, we've got drugs, Mr. or Mrs. Immigrant, that could save your life, but you're not getting them because you didn't partake in paying for them. So he's asking you to look in somebody's eye who's dying or potentially could be saved by your drugs and tell them to go away because they didn't help pay for them. So, if this system has brought you to a point where you can agree with Nigel, then you're about to fail your Humanity 101 course, your introduction to humanity. Because you're willing to watch somebody die before you would share your resources. Or of course, the resources are under pressure. Oh, but then somebody in my country and my people will not be able to afford it or get the treatment. Well, that's not a problem for the immigrant. That's a problem for you. That's a problem because this system has shown you or taught you to be atomised, has taught you that you are divided by everybody else. If you were that immigrant who was or had that disease and you wanted to come here, it would feel very, very different. So what's wrong here is this system has divided you from other humans and it has stolen your humanity. If you agree with Nigel Farage, Nigel Farage has been broken by this system, has had his humanity stolen. It's simple. There's no other way to look at it. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can re-empathise. You can pick up your humanity again. You can find the boundary of the problem. Well, we don't have enough resources. How, if we give their resources away, we won't be able to give it to the people, our people. If this is the problem, then that's the solution. You need to find a solution to that problem. The solution to that problem is not, this is my stuff and you're not getting it. These are my life-saving drugs and I'm not giving you them. I would rather see you die than have life-saving drugs. Now that sounds to me like a problem. That sounds to me like a problem for your humanity. That this system has broken it and raped your humanity like that. That you can even contemplate thinking like that. If you do. I'm sure it's only a tiny minority that do, and that gives me hope. But nonetheless, we need to think of bigger and better solutions. And I tell you what, voting is not one of those solutions. There is no future in that. Look at the history. Look at what they've done in the past. You all know politicians say one thing in their manifesto and do another thing. You all know there's been a Bush or a Clinton in the White House since 1982, or then for the next 30 years after that. 30 years, two family names, Bush or Clinton. Of all the 300 million people in the States, only two family names in the White House for 30 odd years. And now Clinton's wanting to come back again. And in the UK, red or blue, dose of yellow. Oh, we might see a big selection this time. Ooh, doesn't make any difference, people. So anyway, whether you vote or you don't, if you agree with Farage, you're broken and you really, really, really need to fix it. Please reconnect with us, because we can do this another way. And I would urge you not to vote and engage with people who really want proper, positive change, so that we can never have a politician, an elected politician, stand up and say, I would rather see you die than give you drugs. Seems weird to me. All the best with it.